Kabir Adamu is a managing director at Beacon Consulting, an enterprise security risk management and intelligence solutions provider in Nigeria. Also looks at the broader Sahel region. He joins me now from Abuja. How is this violence going to affect the election on Saturday?
Thank you, Mariam. So the Southeast region, where this particular incident occurred, represents a particular distinct ethnic group. And like your reporter mentioned, there have been issues around marginalization, a separatist movement that has both a national as well as international composition. Now, one of the frontline candidates is actually from that region. And so, and not only from that region, he's enjoying tremendous support from that region and other regions of the country. So depending on how the security forces are able to manage these dynamics that is represented in this region and the inclusion and the involvement that allows voter turnout on the day of the elections. And of course, if this candidate emerges, then definitely it would go a long way towards healing some of the issues that have affected national unity in Nigeria.
Why was Bariu Buchukwu shot dead in Enugu State? Why was this particular area the target of violence? Because it's in the southeast, and this part of Nigeria has seen a spike in random acts of violence, which sort of is slightly different from the pattern we've seen over the last 10 years.
So that is what is really perplexing about the violence in the Southeast. On the one hand, there is this desire for involvement, inclusion within the national, geographical space called Nigeria. On the other hand, you've got the separatist movement. Now there is a member, a politician who has received enormous national support. And this particular candidate who was killed is actually from that, political party, the Labour Party. So it doesn't make sense from the point of view of, this agitation for inclusion. But then in the past, this particular group of youths, the separatist group, they've expressed clearly their desire to prevent the election from taking place, even though I must mention that now there are different factions within that, movement. And so one faction is saying, no, we are supportive of the election, while the other one is saying no. You may have reported in your, previous reports, one of the leaders of the group was arrested in Finland. So to give you a sense of both the national and international spread of that movement.
So that's separate from violence you've seen elsewhere in the country. You have the growth of gunmen, bandits, groups in various different parts of the country. Obviously, the ongoing attacks on school children, kidnappings that are taking place. The kidnap for ransom industry is very strong. And then on top of that, you have ethno-religious tensions. Why are the security forces not able to make any difference to this?
So they are doing a lot. And so just to give you a sense, my consultancy keeps, a database. We record these incidents, we analyze it, and then, put out, the meanings, the trends that I imagine. Now, between December and January, there was a 70% reduction in abduction across the country, and that's really remarkable. There was a near 36% reduction in fatalities across the country. And the single reason for that reduction is an increase in security forces operation. However, the challenge has been the drivers of insecurity in the country: unemployment, the rising poverty rate, climate change, and the inability to put adaptive measures to the effects and consequences of climate change, government policies, name them, all those drivers, including the inefficient criminal justice system that fails to arrest and punish offenders. So these are the major issues that have not been addressed, significantly over time, that continue to drive the insecurity. Now, the good thing is that, as you're aware, there will be an election in Nigeria on the 25th, the presidential and national assembly election. And all the candidates, the front runners in the election, have put forward measures in an attempt to address some of these drivers of insecurity. So I think Nigeria has a golden opportunity, if it chooses the right candidate, to address some of the drivers of this insecurity.
All right, thank you very much, Kabir Adamu, for joining us there from Abuja.
Thank you for having me.